don't go to the bathroom, don't go get a drink. I really want you to pay attention to this because it is not just no more fact checking. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, their new changes mean it's going to be easier for people to spread hate speech and abuse on Facebook and Instagram, things that will now be reportedly allowed under Meta's new conduct policy, referencing women as property, calling gay people mentally ill, and referring to entire ethnicities as diseases. That's going to be A-OK. And let us be clear. These are groups who are already being targeted online. A 2022 report from the UN looked at more than 50 countries and found that nearly 40% of women have been harassed online. In 2021, a Pew study of the U.S. found that young women are particularly likely to experience sexual harassment. And according to that very same study, about 7 out of 10 American lesbian, gay, and bisexual adults, well, they've been harassed online, too. I want to bring into our conversation NBC News senior reporter Brandy Zadrozny. The Internet is your world. You don't just cover this. You have faced extraordinary abuse online. Tell us what this is going to look like now that we're not going to have guardrails.
Well, it's going to be worse for all of the people that it's already bad for. Women, minorities, immigrants, gay people, trans people, all of the people who are already attacked online. Mark Zuckerberg and Joel Kaplan are now saying, we've gone too far protecting you. Sometimes conservatives say that they are censored, which is not true, according to the data and research. That's not actually happening. But they feel that it is, and their feelings are more important than your truth. And so we're going to roll back the things that we have instituted to try to keep those users safe. We don't care about those people.
So will this community notes system do anything?
It's unclear how they're going to roll out community notes. Like, the fact is, it's not really an effective tool on X, even though Zuckerberg said that's why we're instituting it, because it works so well on X. That's just not true. Community notes take a really, really long time. Research suggests that those community notes are driven by partisan actors. And the most important thing, they're very, very, very slow. And incitement to violence happens very, very quickly. We've seen what happened in Myanmar. We've seen what happened with Stop the Steal. These things happen like lightning. And with whatever community notes thing they'll roll out, what will happen is Zuckerberg said yesterday, we're no longer going to catch those things automatically. Machine learning, when it comes to harassment and hate speech, no more. Instead, we're going to rely on users to report that. And I don't know if you've ever tried to report anything to Facebook.
Sister, please.
Yeah, you're not getting a response.
I mean, like, that's a joke.
It is a joke. And so that's that part. But if it's community notes, then what will happen if they model it on X's platform is that someone will say, I think there should be a community notes person here. And if, God willing, they find a number of people willing to work for free on Facebook to comb through posts and see what is and isn't true instead of paying fact checkers to do that, then eventually there will be enough of a groundswell of people who say this is a helpful note, then that it will get a note on it. And when it gets a note on it, does that mean it doesn't go and high up into people's feeds like the old fact check things did? It's unclear. So those things might just remain on the platform forever. It's very, very unclear. The only thing that's clear about that announcement yesterday is that it is a capitulation to conservatives like Jim Jordan and Donald Trump, who have actually threatened Zuckerberg with jail time and contempt of Congress and other political threats. He gave them the farm.
Okay, so it's a business decision for Mark Zuckerberg. He's saying this is the best thing for his business. He's got an FTC case to worry about. He has all different issues. But how about the business of his users, right? So you've got millions and millions of women who are using Facebook, using Instagram every day. You know, socially, they're using it for their businesses. And now we are in a position that we are facing less and less protections. Could Mark Zuckerberg wake up and have the users on his platform say, I'm not okay with this? Or are we not going to because we don't have anywhere else to go?
Well, that's the catch-22 of these large social media platforms, right? People don't want to leave because they've already built up a degree of following, and they're a super highway for communication. In 4 years, when there's a new administration, who knows? He might find religion about this. But right now, obviously, this is announced on January 7th. This is seems like it's sort of falling in line with the Trump administration's prerogatives. And is it a result of a brushback pitch? Did all those threats have the effect of having him change his policy? Is this sort of trying to curry favor with the incoming administration with a fig leaf of fiduciary responsibility, but actually it's just about playing, politics with a strong man? It looks like that. Most of all, what it's going to do is pour more fuel on a fire of sort of our culture war debates at a time when disinformation is galloping and further distorting our ability to reason together. That's the larger danger.
What is your take on these changes? What does it say about this moment in America?
I think that it's really problematic and dangerous. I think that this, when you look at also Trump's rhetoric around Greenland and Panama and how he says, and he's just going to take Canada, it's going to be the 51st state. We are playing in a different world than we were before. We are playground, or if you want to make it darker, jungle rules now. This is a place that we are in where might makes right, and whoever wants to can bully somebody off of the internet or bully someone off of their land. And I think that what we're looking at is really the consolidation, a really rapid consolidation of power and money amongst, four people, looking at like Trump, Musk, Putin, and Zuckerberg, who are able to control all of this information. And you think, even some of these like land grabs, for example, these attempts, my assumption is that they are creating a situation where you could create some sort of political movement in these countries that could ultimately then deliver those territories to whomever the algorithms kind of rig it for. And I'm just thinking, like, what kind of movement could they manufacture off of Twitter and Facebook, like when you talk about what happened in Myanmar? And it feels like this is something where what's happening on social media can go really quickly, jump to real life. And the geopolitical implications, I think, are really, really dangerous. This is not an era of diplomacy.
Following what happened in New Orleans last week, NBC did reporting talking to experts who said the online algorithms that are designed to make us angry are leading to more people becoming radicalized quickly. So isn't that the issue? They've realized that rage is the best, sexiest, hottest business. They're not going to abandon it. It's what's working for them.
100%. This is a business decision, like you said. It's also a matter of fear. Mark Zuckerberg is a tool with no morality. He's like, every 4 years, I just had an epiphany about what the country wants and what was good. And it's based on who wins the election, right? So after people were mad at Trump and voted for Biden, all of a sudden he's like, it's terrible what happened on January 6th, and we're going to do these new procedures. Now Trump comes in, and he's president, and Zuckerberg's kissing his ring, goes to Mar-a-Lago. This is crazy. This is an entity, Facebook, where millions, billions of people in the world get their information. And Mark Zuckerberg comes out with a video where he says the words, I'm going to now be working with President Trump. Hold on. Most people are getting their political information from you, and you're working with the president on stuff? This is totally out of line. It's totally out of control.
Okay, but hold on. It doesn't surprise me. I don't even fault these CEOs for going down to Mar-a-Lago. For them, at least in the short term, or at least for the next 2 to 4 years, it's good business for them. It's good business for them. But is there a moment when their customers, when their users, right? It's advertisers that pay Mark Zuckerberg the zillions of dollars. Is there a moment when users start to say, hold on a second, like, I'm the one who uses this platform every day. I kind of not feel like being called a big, fat, ugly ass loser every day. And that's what we're potentially headed for. And haven't we spent the last 6 years talking about the harm it's doing specifically? Think about all the people that you've reported on, right? We've sit there over and over talking to parents saying, my child was bullied online. Look what it led to. We need some legislation against it. And that didn't do anything.
No. We've been having the same conversation for so many years. I mean, no, you're right. It's a capitulation, a political, calculated move. They do not care about users. These are huge companies that do not care about their users. What can be done? I've said this to you before. There can be a mass migration. We saw that when Elon took over Twitter and turned it into a Nazi bar. Many people left. They went to Blue Sky, and it's a much more pleasant experience, to be honest. It's a little woke, a little lefty, but like it's not. You don't get called.
It doesn't have the influence, though. That's the problem.
But neither does Twitter anymore. It does not have the juice anymore as real information.
One difference: it's a privately held company versus a publicly traded company. If people vote with their feet, their eyeballs, their wallets, I mean, they can make changes that may put pressure on this. If the experience becomes so increasingly toxic, people can vote with their feet and migrate. And maybe that's what it will take, right? Because that's maybe the only force it'll recommend. The larger danger is you see a lot of what Timothy Snyder famously called anticipatory obedience. On the part
Say
of
that again?
Anticipatory obedience.
Yes.
On the part of CEOs, some of the wealthiest people in the world, trying to curry favor with an incoming administration because the threats are effective. That's the larger danger.